and so on and so forth. I thought it was as realistic as it could possibly be because of the stories that I have seen, heard, know of. Again, and I'm not talking about chart-breaking like stars that we would know, but just in general, you go back to the 80s and 90s showgirls when the strip shows were just as big as headliners these days. The star of the lead singer for Splash, the lead for Crazy Girls, Jubilee, Lido de Paris, Follies Bergère, those showgirls, all those dancers back then, they were headliners big time. I have known and seen what can happen. Real quick, your guys' thoughts on the weekend acting?
Real quick, let Dmon answer because he's been face palming. He's face palmed like 17 times during your breakdown. He's outraged.
Okay.
This is going to be very good for the video audience once Steve puts this up. But it's really, I know that you're saying that, hey, this happened back in the day. But for me, and let's say 2020 beyond, it's just the Weeknd's character. I'll give you my thoughts on his acting. It was bad where this guy, he doesn't have the charisma to just say, hey, I'm taking over this life. Where with the initial director of the show, when it was led by a woman, it was more of, hey, this is a cult. She's getting caught up in a cult. That would make more sense to me because I don't know how anybody gets caught up in a cult. If it was more of like, hey, this is his family in a cult and this is how this is happening, I would have been more interested in that dynamic rather than I find all of these broken artists and I bring the best out of them. How? By telling them to be sexy. You're not hitting that note right because you're not sexy enough. The end. I'm going to spoil this for you. The tour, the Rock Nation or whatever, they're whatever, that's supposed to be representing in the show. The guy who's greenlighting the tour, he comes over for a performance of Jocelyn and the Weeknd's Merry Band of Misfits. And it's just dry humping and grinding. And all of these music executives, they leave and say, hey, I'm sold. World tour, let's do it. Grind. They had a realistic. Guy.
Okay, wait. Did Dmon? By the way, did Dmon just suggest that our generation and ones before that were kind of dopey and gullible and could fall prey to cults, and that you can't fall into a cult now in your era, Dmon? Is that what you were saying?
People do it all the time.
Okay, no, I think he was saying that in his era, it's hard to. No, I got.
It would have been more interesting for me to see, like, hey, this is how this guy duped this young superstar for his cult, because besides him being he tells me to be sexy. Why are all these people following him?
The one area where I will say was kind of to me is unrealistic in any form is I have seen like guys enter females' lives and in that quick of an instance based on what was involved in terms of depression, drugs, alcohol, so on and so forth, but the immediacy in which he took over that lost me a little bit, but it still kept me. The whole storyline kept me watching. But yes, you're right. The part like with the kitchen and the cook, and then out of nowhere and going, okay, you can go now, and then all of a sudden he took over the business. That part, I was like, okay, that's a stretch. But there were a lot of it. Trust me when I tell you, there was a lot of it. Yes, the live audition with the whole production team coming over in her, which was actually Weeknd's mansion, which that's how they finished it. That was his house. That was a little crazy. The one that, if you remember when we were texting in our group chat, episode 4 with Xander, what he does to Xander, that was outlandish. That was wild. You remember what I'm talking about?
You've never had a shot collar on?
No, Steve. I know you and
why would
the SO get into freaky stuff.
The last time for me was the last time, but I mean, it can happen. You can get a shot collar on, and that was get worked a little bit. Oh. Yeah, that was part of the Jamaica vacation. Yeah.
If Steve put a shot collar on me and pledged loyalty, and then the day after, you know what? I'm leaving.
Okay,
I'm
now
not going to stay and be like, Steve.
Let me answer the question about the Weeknd.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was going to say. Okay,
I want to see the Weeknd and more stuff. I actually think he's got acting chops.
I think that the Weeknd pulled it off because everything that we're talking about, we're going, this is so crazy. This is so outlandish. This is this. He made you hate him. Then guess what? He did his job as an actor.
Come on.
It was so outlandish that he did his job. That's how crazy it was. Like when he was just detoxing, almost just sweating. The hair was all. I mean,
looked like hell.
Yeah, that was
great.
That was
a freaking mess. And then his eyes are darting around. That final scene. And I don't want to ruin it for everybody, but apparently a lot of people hated the show. That final scene, what the hell's going on? I'm like, someone's going to die here. This is great. Now, no one died, so that was a little disappointing. But Dmon gave the show an F. What do you give it? 8F.
On my Instagram review, I gave it a B.
Okay, I gave it a B as well, and it might be a B+. So we're way off from you, Dmon, and I can pretty much guarantee you no one else on the show is going to watch it because you scared them away. So thanks a lot.
No, please watch it. Hey guys, text the show 69187 keyword ESPN, and then what your message has to be. Let me know if you watched this show. Let me know what you think. Maybe I'm young and out of touch, and I'm the feminist here in the group.
Whoever says that, you're young and out of touch. Maybe I'm naive and I never got to grow up in Willie's world.
Oh, yeah, that's what it is.
Vegas of the 70s and 80s and early 90s is pretty crazy. So we've seen a lot.
Yeah, come here, now. You belong to me.
Hey, you know me, Cofield. I'm an open book. I don't care. I'm going to say it. Well, there's a lot of 8 balls to appreciate that show. I went through a lot of them.
So there's people live crazy lives. I'm not saying I've lived that life, but it didn't shock me. Some of the stuff I saw, people are freaking batty. That's what they need. They need angst.
Hold on, Willie.
They need it.
Now, go ahead.
Jordan said that you might be able to relate to this. Yeah. Were there any parts where you're like, yeah, man, that was me already?
Yeah, just in general, just getting caught up. And it was during, a time in DJing and dancing as a backup dancer to a lot of the groups that were trying to get on record labels and trying to go beyond being a one-hit wonder. And we would do club tours, or we go to Lake Havasu. We're talking like late 80s, 90, 91. I think 92 might have been the last one. But there were a lot of groupies, there were a lot of strippers, and there was a lot of blow involved. So, yes.
I didn't do that. You sent over a note that you tied yourself to the show about getting like reinvigorated.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
I'm going to tell you right now.
Did you have a muse?
Am
I the muse?
No.
I
got back into.
Is Dmon your muse?
You gonna run us into the break, or you let me finish?
I might run us into the break.
I got back into some therapy sessions in the last month and a half, and what the eye-opening thing was, this thing brought me back to my past, and you know what it did? There's such an uncomfortability to it to someone like Dmon. That was my comfort zone. So it brought me back to what I considered normal, and it almost like it just, I don't know, it brought a sense of comfortability. All of a sudden I became motivated to work. You know what it did? It prepared me for WNBA All-Star Weekend because I felt motivated, like I was back into I was just back into this. Like I was like, wow, I know this stuff. I see this stuff. I've been through not singers, dancers, and as far as on a national level, but I've led that lifestyle outside of being a recording artist.
The show, The Idol, which people hated, including Dmon, Willie and I liked. It's on HBO. It's been universally panned as a terrible show. The Weeknd has been just murdered as an actor. It got dumped early, and Willie and I like it. And now Willie is claiming, it may have helped him turn the corner in 2023.